Great. Okay, so again, thank you all for joining us. Kevin, I think we are good to get started.
Yes.
So, great. So again, thank you all for joining us. We are recording the session, but please don't let that stop you from being very quizzitive and interested in doing just what Ms. Chu says, and that is getting some wonderful data that can be pulled out of Files In, Files Out, which is nicknamed as FIFO. So that's what I guess that, we always have to assign an acronym to everything that we do as educators. And so FIFO is a system, and so you'll hear us talk about it when we talk about it out loud, or you can call it Files In, Files Out. My name is Sonia Stevens, and I am going to be joined by Kevin Gilliland, and we're Gilliland. I said your name wrong, Kevin. You want to pronounce it?
Gilliland, you got it right.
And we're going to be your host today talking about Files In, Files Out. And we are hoping that this will be more of a conversation. What we're going to do is just give you some information about the tool itself, and then Kevin's going to take you through how to navigate the system, and then we'll give you a chance to play a little bit in the system and ask questions as well. Before we get started, are there any questions that you guys have just initially that we want to start with? And feel free to unmic yourself and just ask the question. Okay, if not, we'll probably answer many questions that may be swarming in your head. But first, FIFO is located in Oasis. And we'll show you how to get to that. And in the PowerPoint, which you will have access to, we have instructions for school staff and then also district staff that will give you instructions on how to access the tool itself, or anyone else in your building that may be interested in going into FIFO. So in your building, we do have a limited number of people who has access to FIFO. So just like with Quickr, only principals, assistant principals, counselors, data managers, test coordinators, and at the district level, the area superintendents have automatic access to FIFO. And that list may also include your instructional facilitators. We'll have to double check on that. But if for some reason the instructional facilitators do not have access, or your instructional facilitator does not have access to FIFO, they can submit a help desk ticket asking that they be given access. Because I do think that your instructional facilitators would be people that persons you would want to have access. So in the tool itself, what we have are files that were previously stored in Quickr. I don't know if you guys have tried to go into Quickr lately, but it should be turned off. And so if you're wondering where things are, they're no longer being placed in Quickr. But what we did do was move most of the files that were in Quickr, we've already transferred over into the Files In, Files Out system, which was a little bit of a manual process. It wasn't an automatic process whereby the tools talk to one another. So we had to actually go in and drag and drop them. So we may have missed some files. I'll go ahead and tell you that, although we tried to be very diligent in our office. But if for some reason you're looking for something that should be in FIFO and you don't see it, then just send us an email and we'll make sure that you get the file there, or you can email the help desk. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Kevin so that he can actually take you through how to access the system and just demonstrate how you navigate through.
Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is the home screen for files in, files out. What you'll do is you go in through your Wake ID portal and you'll find your Oasis tab. And when you click on that, you'll come to this screen. Now, I have 3 tiles on this screen. The middle one is the FIFO tab. You may have 1 or you may have more than 3. It just depends on the kind of data that you're accessing. So we click on the FIFO tile. We'll come to the home screen for FIFO. And your attention ought to go to the menu on the left. This menu is structured for someone who's at central office, but there are items here that you'll have when you log in from your school site. For example, we're uploading files from the central office, so this link is available to us all the time. But the file retrieval link from this district submenu is available to you, as well as the one here under school. Our administrative file management link won't show on your tab. So let's first of all go to the file retrieval link. This is where you'll go to retrieve files that have been uploaded for you, your data files that Sonia just mentioned. You'll see that we have 3 categories right away with pull downs: school, category, and year. You can see that the boxes for these are a little bit misplaced, so I'm going to zoom down a little. So one of the things that I have access to at the central office is every school, but when you log in, your school will show here. So I'm just going to pick, let's say, Apex Middle. In the categories box, we'll have all the categories of data that have been uploaded that apply to Apex Middle. If we chose a high school, we'd have those categories that apply to a high school that have been uploaded. So there's the current list for the 2021 school year. So this will default to the latest school year that a file has been uploaded for. So if we pull that down, we can see there are several school years here available to you. In 2021, of course, there are going to be fewer files. We can see at the bottom here, there are only 6 entries for this year. But if we chose a different year, let's say 18-19, the last year we had full testing, we can see that they're actually showing 10 of 48 entries. So there are 48 files for Apex Middle for 18-19. We can actually show that using the Show Entries box. I'll change it to 50, and it'll show all of them. Now going back to the top, we can see we have these subcategories. So you see the categories are listed in this column, and then the file name that's associated with that category. The file type, so for example, you see PDFs or Excel, you'll see Word documents. The icon you would choose to download a file, so you just click this icon and that file will download, just like you're used to in any download. It'll be down here in the bottom left. And then you'll see when the file was uploaded. So how long ago? 4 months ago for the files that are showing here. If you scroll over it, you'll see the specific date and time that it was uploaded. Also, if you want to search on a file, because there's so many in this all categories file, you could just search. So if you wanted to do your, let's say, grade level proficient, then just type in GLP and you'll see that'll be the one that it'll subset to. Or you can go to the category file and you can choose any of these categories and it'll subset to that for you.
Kevin,
You see the, yes.
Can I interrupt you so this is very weird. For some reason, as Kevin was demonstrating for you to see the categories, I don't know if you guys are actually in the tool or if you're just watching his screen. When he clicked on the categories, if you're actually in the tool, you would actually see a list of categories in the drop-down menu. But for some reason, it's not displaying in the live setting, I guess, with the sharing of the screen. So I just want you to know that as he's talking, he's clicking on the category, and you'll see a long list of categories. And then the same as when you click on the year, you will see all of the years that's going all the way back to 2015, 2016. So when you go into your system, you should see all of those drop downs.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. I appreciate you mentioning that. So for example, I chose the category Illuminate for the 1920 school year. And this is the file name that comes up. I just want to mention the convention. The way we get these uploaded is we have to use the LEA code 920 and then the school code 312 in this case for Apex Middle. And we also typically put in a year so that when you download it, you've got that year and you know what year it's from. Likewise, there are some files that don't just apply to a specific school, but are more district level. So if we go over to the district file retrieval link, we can choose that, and you'll see there's no school category up here. There's just a category box and a year box. And of course, the latest year by default comes up, and there are several years to choose from. Again, we could choose, let's say, 1819. And you can see there are 101 entries in this that apply more at the district level. For example, here in the first item, you can see this is DPI's ACT results for juniors from 1819. That's their spreadsheet that they publish. So the same rules apply here. And one thing that, if I didn't mention, you can also sort by using these A to Z and Z to A arrows. So you can do that for each of these menu headings. So it's another way to be able to organize the data that you're looking at. Are there any questions about the use of FIFO, what you've seen? Okay.
Kevin, Ms.
Yes.
Dawn Edwards raised her hand.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, please. Is the question in the chat?
No, there is no question in the chat. I just see the raised hand.
Okay. Ms. Edwards, do you have a question?
I'm sorry, I do not have a question. That was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Okay. No problem. Thank you. Okay, if there are no questions, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop presenting that. And I'm going to go back over to our slides.
Okay, so thank you, Kevin, for navigating through the system. And as you can see, this system is truly quicker. The old Quickr was not very quick, for those of you who were familiar with Quickr. So this system is very quick, and it's so easy to navigate. But with any data analysis, or before you begin to review any data, you should always start with a question. And I know many of you have been in some of the trainings with me, and I always say, like, what is your question? What is it that you're actually looking for? And so if you know that, then that will help you as you navigate through, because as Kevin demonstrated, some of the files or some of the categories had like 101 files in it. So that you would find yourself just searching through all of those categories if you don't know where you actually want to begin. And so what I'd like for you to do, if you could, how many of you are actually logged in? If you can just give me a thumbs up if you're actually in the tool itself. Okay, good. It seems like the majority of you. So what I'd like for you to do is try to answer these questions that's on your screen. So what report would you use or try to find that will tell you how the students feel about your school? So that's the first question. Just find the report and just jot it down, or if you want to practice downloading the report so that you can get a feel for how you would actually go through that process. And then if you're curious to know how your subgroups performed on the EOG or EOC in the past 3 years, do you know what report in the system would allow you to do that, or if you could be able to find what that report is? And then the final question is, if you are curious to know about how your school is doing based on DPI's overall accountability standards, this one may be a little hard, but we'll see if you're able to navigate and find the answer to that particular question. So why don't you take about 5 minutes, or I'll check back in with you in a couple of minutes to see if you can find, if you had any problems finding those reports. So take a few minutes to do that. And again, do try to download a file or two just to make sure that that function is working for you and that you have access to the files. Okay, Mr. Roach, I see your note saying you don't have access. We'll try to get you access soon.
Thanks, that would be great. I didn't know if I should have my principal put the form to the help desk in or not.
Kevin, do you know if we're able to give access, or Ann Sylvie?
I think we can.
So we'll work on that while we're on the call and see if we can get you access before we get off the call.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Who should we contact? I'm sorry. Who should we contact? Because I know of another staff member in our building that would benefit our intervention coordinator, especially with the EOG past stuff. Once we start going in that direction, we ask for those access rights.
So your principal would need to send an email to the help desk asking for access, and I think they will ask you to fill out an above line access. So which means that you're just given permission, or your principal is given permission for them to have access that they normally would not have. So if you could just give me a thumbs up, or either type in the chat if you need a couple of more minutes, or if you've found the reports. If you don't need any more time, just type in the chat. No time needed, or no, you don't need time. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. Do you need time? What was the response? I didn't see. Yes, no? Somebody tell me.
Yeah,
Are you
one
guys?
person, a couple of people saying no time needed.
Yeah,
Somebody says still
Okay.
looking.
Oh, still looking. Okay. So I would take a couple more minutes.
I know one of the reports that I would use in Quickr, especially at the beginning of the year when we would get students coming in from 5th grade into 6th grade, I could pull that student list that not only had their EOG, but also had student incidents. And I didn't know if there's going to be anything that replaced that. I know that we have the student list in the DEAR system, but it doesn't have student incidents in it.
Yes, that's exactly right. So you kind of answered your question as you were talking. So the student lists are no longer, of course, they're not in Quickr because we don't have Quickr anymore, but they are in the DEARS, the OASIS system that's in DEARS, and those are the student rosters. So we've moved them there. And so unfortunately, these two systems don't talk to one another. So that's where you can find the rosters that you're talking about, but the incidents are not included. And that's something that we're working on to try to get those incidents back into that roster. But right now, we don't have any of the suspensions or the other incidents that are included in the rosters. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call time. And Kevin, do you mind going back to FIFO just as we walk through these, going back to the system? So for that first question, which was, how do students feel about your school? Were you able to find that report? Someone just unmic yourself and tell me what the report was. Anyone?
That was the student survey results.
Yes, the student survey results. How did you go about finding the student survey results?
I don't know.
Or anyone, can you tell us how you could find the student survey results? And Kevin, if you go into FIFO, so we can kind of walk through.
Can you see what I'm sharing?
No. Share your
Okay.
screen again.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, so how would you go about finding the student survey results? Anybody?
So you could click on category and look for student survey report.
Okay, does it matter the year?
It probably would, but since my school was new last year, I only have one.
Well, that's very important for you to know. So yeah, so you would click on category, and then you'd have to think about the year. So we actually do have results from the 1920 student survey results from the 1920 school year if your school administered the survey, because most of you did a really good job of going ahead and administering the student survey before the pandemic happened. So we actually have those data, and we were able to upload them into this tool. So Kevin just found the student survey results that are in there. And if you're looking for results from previous school years, then you would just click on the drop down for the year and whatever year it is that you're looking for. Very good. Thank you very much to both of you. So what about how have your subgroups performed in the EOG for the past 3 years? What report, was anybody able to find that report? I didn't see any thumbs up. Yes or no? Yes? Anybody want to tell us what report you would go to look at your EOG scores? So do I need to give you more wait time, or you want me to just tell you? So this is these charts that you're probably used to seeing. So Kevin, if you go to If you wanted to look at your GLP results or your CCR results, we have these same reports that we've placed into FIFO. So you can use the category, use the drop down if you're looking, depends on if you're looking for CCR or grade level proficiency, GLP. And then you're going to look for your EOG, EOC charts. And these are the charts you guys might remember that you probably share, your principal shares with your staff, that has all the bars. And you have to turn your head to the side to read those. But that I wanted you to know that those are here. So that's where you would find these reports. And you just need to know if you're looking for CCR or GLP, because I know you guys use these charts quite a bit now. You also have to remember that we did not test last year. So if you're looking for 1920, they're not going to be there. But we are testing this year, so you will have those same types of charts and graphs for the 2021 school year once those results become available. Was that hard for you guys to find? No? Okay, so here's the hard one. How do you know if your school is meeting DPI's overall accountability standards? Do you know what that report is called? Was anybody able to figure that out?
I went to the internal results review. I don't know if that's correct or not.
That is right. You're just a star pupil, Mr. Barham. And so, yes, it's the internal results review report. So this is the report that DPI sends us, and it has all of your accountability stuff in it. So what your school grade is, if you're meeting your 10-year goals or where you are with the 10-year goals, long-term goals. So that's where you would go. So that when those reports become available, it's just a PDF file. We'll post them here. And so generally what's going to happen is, unless our communication, the way we communicate with schools and principals changes, when we get a new report or whenever a new report becomes available, we'll put a note in the daily email that says the internal results review report has been uploaded to FIFO, and this is how you can find the report. So that way you will know that the report is ready and available for you to download. And if you get a notification, or if you see that notification and you go here looking for your report and you don't see it, then just send us an email or email the help desk, and we'll make sure that it gets loaded for whatever, if it's not there for whatever reason. So that is pretty much it for FIFO. It's a pretty easy system, very simple to use. I think the main thing is, once you know what reports are in there and under which category, you will see that it's very easy for you to access the information. We also created a FAQ guide for you that will probably answer as many questions as you need. Again, we'll load this PowerPoint to the office hours site on our Wake Connect page so that you guys will have access to it. And we'll also email it to you so that you can have this FAQ document, or link to the FAQ document, because your staff will probably ask you questions. But the one thing that I want you to kind of remember is the difference between FIFO, the Wake data dashboards, and then the SOAR reports that are in OASIS. So if you are looking for individual student information, that's when you're going to go into those rosters, which are in the SOAR rosters, which are in OASIS. So if you're looking for the majority of the information for individual students, so if you wanted to look at all of your kids individually, what their math placement scores, math placement was, or their EOG scores, you're going to go into OASIS and then go into DEERS and go to the student rosters that are there. And those rosters are called SOAR rosters. And we are doing, by the way, an office hour on that coming up soon too. So individual students, you go into SOAR. For school level summaries, that's what you're going to use FIFO for. So if you're looking for your overall school reports, any data charts that we've created for you, or if you're looking for your Illuminate or iStation data, then you can go into FIFO to pull that data down. And then the weight data dashboards are individual dashboards that will allow you to compare yourselves to other schools. So if you're looking for your overall, how you did overall on the, if you're a high school, the ACT, and if your school is, how does your school compare to another high school, then you can go to the data dashboards, which is also on the your Wake ID page, and look at that comparison. So we appreciate you guys coming. Our next session is January 26th, and it's the most fun topic that I know all of you really want to hear about, and that is the EVOS roster verification. So if any of you are a part of that process, or if you think you might have questions, or you probably need a refresher since we didn't test last testing season, tune in. It's only 30 minutes, and we will try to answer any questions. The process is going to be pretty similar to what it's been in the past, but we'll be, you'll hear me talk again about nobody else wants to talk about roster verification except for me, so it'll be me. So let me know if you want to, or just log in if you are interested in coming. Right now, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask them now, or you can certainly log off if you want. All right, hearing no questions, again, thank you for joining us. And if you do have additional questions, you can stay on. And Ms. DeRoche, if you want to stay on for just a minute, and we'll see if we can get you access to FIFO. But otherwise.
Okay, I'll be here.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming. It's great seeing your faces.